Okay, you're good?
I think we're good if you got everything your way.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay.
All right, how to or how not to. Here's the issue we've been having. We've been color sanding our cars for so long, I think we're overdoing it. We're trying to make every car have the quality of a... All right, here's what we're up against. I think we've been doing show cars for so long that we haven't found a way to make any sort of paint job cost effective. We have been probably over sanding, over buffing, and doing too much. Our friends are here from PBE. We got Steve here from Matrix, or we've got a rep from Matrix, and we got Steve here from PBE, who are gonna help us try to figure out how to get a really nice paint job done without, say, going overboard. Right now, we're averaging about $20,000 to do a color sand. We know it's too much, and we can't pump out a $60,000 or $70,000 paint job. We're trying to get back to that, so we're gonna work on different things here. So we've got our full show, that's what we're used to. We're gonna ruin that side of the panel for sure. This one we're gonna try 2000 orbital. So the idea behind that is you don't touch every surface, but at least you would do the big bulky surfaces and make them that much flatter. So if your finish isn't 100% coming out of the gun, at least you could knock it down with the 2000, make it look a whole bunch better. And then the mystery one, Steve, what do you wanna do there?
You want to do that by hand?
Do you wanna do it by hand, but not all the way down to 800?
I'll start with 800.
Because we're doing that.
You're going with 800.
We're gonna
I'll
do the
start
full
with
show.
1,000?
Or 1,500.
Or
What are
1,500.
your thoughts there? 1,000 is the same as 800.
Let me see what I have in the bucket.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go 1,500 and
1,500.
up from there.
Yeah.
We're gonna do 800 here. So just so you guys understand why the cost and why the difference. Well, the difference is here we're not gonna touch it by hand. Here we're gonna have just a machine do most of the work. You don't do the edges, you don't do any of the sort of high crowns or anything like that because you'll break through. Here we're still gonna do it by hand, which is very labor intensive, but we're gonna do it with 1,500 and up. What we mean by that is you go 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 5,000, coarse buff, then a final buff, then a wax. So if you counted that, that was 9 or 10 steps. When we do it with 800, we go 800, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 5,000, coarse. So now we're up to 10 or 12 steps, which means we touch every part of the car, every square inch, 10 to 12 times. That's why that's so expensive. It looks amazing, but not every car on the planet needs to look like a Riddler car, especially if you're just going to your local car show and you're gonna get a rock chip or a scratch or somebody's gonna lean their dog leash against it or something. So let's try this, let's see what the results are. We're gonna work really, really hard, fairly hard, and hopefully this is a simple one, and then maybe the camera will be able to catch the results. Probably the craziest thing we do of everything we do here at JF Customs is color sanding. Now, can you imagine having $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 into a paint job? It's just fully cleared right out of that paint booth. We bring it out into this space here with a drain. We take physical 800 sandpaper and start knocking that clear coat down till it's absolutely no longer shiny. We then sand, 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 buff, 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 and bring it back to the most amazing shine you've ever seen. Riddler quality shine. That's what we're about today.
I can use that. If you have a small little 3x5 block, just an old school block, I'm good with that.
I like the idea of trying it with that.
Okay,
My
I'll
thought
do it.
was,
I'll do it.
if we can get it out with 1,500, then the
Yeah.
scratches shouldn't be so bad.
Yeah. My only thought is the surface volume of this.
Yeah.
Because there's not much hitting the surface.
Yeah, you know what I do with that? Take that guy and just run him on there. so the first step is sanding this with 800. You can see that I completely cut out the orange peel, right? So I'm confident there's no orange peel left there. You can see traces of it along the edges. And that's done on purpose because we don't want to do excess sanding on the edges. That's normally when you break through. So, step one, the panel is 100% flat. We're confident of that. The 1500 versus the 800 may not have flattened it so much. They may have taken those bumps and just sort of smoothed them out. We'll only know that once we're polished. So that's kind of the tricky bit here, is you can't actually tell how good the job you've done until the very end. So we're gonna take this to 1000, 1200 quickly, in between coats. So what we do is we take a regular guide coat, that'll get in those scratches, and that way we know on the next stage that we've done the job. Sometimes what this also shows is if you get a piece of dirt or something under your paper, you'll notice you've got some 1 or 2 or a couple lines that are really quite a bit deeper. They show up right away and you know how much harder you have to work on that one section.
You're wet sanding right over this, Jeff?
Yeah.
We wet it down that it doesn't gum up the paper.
David, you got 1000 or 1200? What do we normally go to there?
We went to 1,000 and 15.
Oh, so we skipped the 1200. So same thing, I'm gonna take the 1000 now and still use a stick, just like Steve's using a stick over there. What grid are you on?
I have 1500.
Okay. You're probably overdoing that with 1500, but that's good too. So here we're gonna go a little bit past everywhere that we did 800. That way we got good coverage and we're not leaving sand scratches behind it.
Yeah.
So that's another nice thing, is that it's at least a few days old. That can be an issue too.
It's got less orange peel to start with than most of the stuff that comes out of it.
Actually, Reggie sprayed this one, right?
Yeah.
Reggie did this with a SATA with a 1.2. He's a big fan of using the smaller.
Smaller tip, a little more pressure then probably?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, are you guys gonna expose it to a shit ton of heat after you've?
They already did. They've already had some.
Well, we had a couple warm days, like over the weekend was pretty good, and I had it in the back of the truck with the tonneau on it, so it's like an oven in there.
Yeah.
So.
And did you see a lot of that aeration?
The blushing,
Yeah, the aeration, like what happened.
didn't see it before it had the humidity to it.
That's what I mean, but after
Yeah.
the heat.
Yeah, it looks like it's a problem we're gonna have to live with, but we gotta figure out a way around it.
Well, can we cut it out and make it go
Well,
away?
can we cut it out? The other thing we were doing
Yeah.
is I think trapping it by
Will it
baking
come
it.
back?
Yeah.
So,
Really, the only reason that Bake Boost came out was so production shops could assemble cars. It was
Yes.
nothing to do with,
Okay.
the finish or making things better.
I understood that it was a full through cure.
Well, they say that it gives you a 7-day cure, but
They'll say a lot of things.
those are typically
150.
cars that aren't being polished.
Yeah.
They're just going down the road,
Yep.
and they may never see them again.
Okay, David, does that mean we got it?
Well, you can see highlights of white everywhere still.
Yeah, it's
Like watching it.
Okay, yep. Keep cutting.
Yeah. So you really see when it's right there.
Okay. You know, it's gonna be your job real quick here.
Yeah. Want me to bring up the black to see?
Yep.
Yeah. I'll show the difference.
What do you got coming?
Just black. I like using a black guide coat instead of the white. It's different than the stuff you sand off. The problem with the black though is it's got just a little bit more carbon in it, and sometimes it'll pile up and create a scratch. So we're careful with the black for sure. Okay, so we're trying black versus white guide coat. You guys catch that? There it is. There it is. Grab the camera. Just get close to this a little bit. You see a big deep scratch here. So we'll go chase that out of there. Keeps appearing. Okay, that's gone. Surface is looking good. Okay.
Gotta work on that forearm strength.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a taxable benefit, I think.
So we'll probably, with yours, we'll probably try, this one, we'll do ours by hand all the way through, and then we'll do yours with an orbital.
This one?
I think so.
And
Wouldn't
that one, what are you gonna do with that one? You're gonna keep
by
going by
hand
hand?
all the way
Okay.
through. It'll take us as long to do this section, and you'll be done that and already buffing by the time I'm done. All right, here you go, David.
What do we got now?
1,500. I think that would come out pretty easy with 1,500. Now, the other thing I'm trying to figure out, and I should have it figured out, we've been doing it a long time, but if you just cut the car down with 800, add 2 more coats of clear so we've got enough mill bill. We've haloed clear lately. So we'll do a section of clear, and we'll actually halo the clear while we break through it.
Pete, where you've broken through?
Yeah, that's when I phoned you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You walked me through that. And it worked out.
So,
It's
so how do we determine when to stop?
Well, you have to get the scratches out. That's
Yeah.
the problem. And that's if you start with a less coarse grit, you're going to get the scratches out way
And the
sooner.
problem that I used to have is I used to hit it with something coarse, like I'd get it down to where I thought I was happy.
Yeah.
Then I would see the pigtails in there
Yeah.
after I'd hit it with a bit of polish.
Yeah.
Well, then I'd need 1,200 to get the pigtails out. So now I've taken off a way more material.
That's us. That's
So-
what we've been struggling
So we
with.
got to figure out how to
skip
stop.
that, but-
That's why I'm curious, how much are we taking off by the time we're ready to polish
Yeah.
and polished?
Yeah.
So, what do you want me to hit that with now?
I think we're going to go straight to the. You did 1,500.
Yeah,
I think we're going to do 2,000.
orbital.
Right?
Orbital, okay, yeah.
Unless you want to hit with 2,000 by hand.
Well, you're gonna do the other one by hand,
We
right?
do that one all the way through by hand.
Okay, well, we'll do this one.
We know the result of
Yeah.
this and how it's
Yeah.
going to look.
Yeah,
It just takes so bloody long. Orbital right here.
yeah,
So what's going on in the middle? Just
We're just going to hit it with this 2,000.
yeah.
And that'll determine whether blocking it first is worth it. Okay, let's have a look at where we're at there. Give me that.
What did you have there, David? You
It
got
says 15.
15, okay.
So he's going to go 2,000 by hand.
So all
And
of
then
those
we'll-
I might just.
Okay, there's a new 2,000 in that bucket there, if you don't have one.
Perfect.
And let this dry up. So even here you can see you're not getting all the orange peel out. I'll work out
This
just a bit
was, yeah, I think it would have needed 1,500
Yeah.
to start with.
more. Yep. Good test though.
So,
you did that.
so what if you went over that with 1500 and we just tried polishing with 1500?
You mean with an orbital?
Yeah.
Just to see if you can
Get rid of the
avoid-
peel and see if I can bring it back with 1500. Or you get a better plan.
I don't. This is sort of experimental to me too.
I should have brought 2 lids.
Well, we did 1500 here, so we know what the result of it.
This was 1500
This is 1500 by hand, and then everything else with an orbital after that.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
going to be nothing by hand.
So this is ready to polish.
Nope. Do you polish from 2000?
Why don't I try it?
Okay. Let's
Now
do
you would go to 2500.
it. We go 2500, 3000.
What do you do? Do you
then
want to do
5000.
2500 there and I'll do 2000 here? And I know 2000 is a little bit aggressive, but let's see what it does.
David, you
I
want to
think you
do
need two sets of criteria. Like, is it a Riddler or is it a roll the wheel?
That's exactly what I'm trying
So,
to say.
why don't I try for the roll the wheel
Yeah.
and David's going for the Riddler?
And in the middle, just cleaning up a really nice paint job to make it just that much nicer. Okay. So you just want to buff, but we would take the time to do that with 3000 because it's so quick.
You would do it with what?
3000. Because 3000 is quick.
If you want to do that?
It's one of the few things that I actually believe in. I believe that this takes out buffing time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're stepping into what I believe is something that saves you some time. We're going to do 3000 on both these panels. You can buff a 2000 scratch. You can also buff a 1500 scratch, but your time is valuable. So do you spend more time buffing or more time sanding? This is one of the papers that I do believe in wholeheartedly. So we're going to do all of this in 3000. 3000, what I normally do is just overlap it as if you're using a paint gun both ways, and I make sure I do that 3 times. So I'll be here on a trunk lid like this for about 10 minutes with this, and I believe it'll save more than that on the buffing. So something I want to go over is that with a 3000, I'm able to go right to the edges of the panel. So if you're watching here, you go right to the edge. Okay, now this panel is ready for buffing. We're going to move on to that. One of the things that people forget about is this right here. See this table that's set up right here? Well, a lot of body shops I've been to, when you're doing color sanding, they'll leave that buffer right on the ground beside them and then pick it up. And what happens is the backside of the buffer will pick up whatever's on the floor of the shop, right? And that little area, you're gonna get dust fall off of that. And if you're doing a hood and one speck of dust falls while you're trying to buff, all you're gonna do is put swirl marks in the hood. So set yourself up properly, take the extra few minutes, put it on a table that's never gonna be on the ground. Oh, look at that. Good job, Steve. Everything's in a bucket. It's gotta be clean. Cleanliness. Next to godliness. Carrying on. Now we're buffing. And Steve's gonna get us a whole bunch of free Roops products because we are promoting the shit out of them. Right, guys? Okay.
You want me to put a piece of tape on it, just do that one, or you're gonna know where it is?
I did all the
think
way to
we
here.
were.
No, I did 3000 all the way to here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel it speeds up the polishing
Okay.
process, so.
Yeah. I was trying to get an idea time-wise, square foot.
Yeah.
How much does it take?
Yeah.
So I've never calculated how many square feet there is on a car, but it's probably a good exercise.
Well, I'll tell you the one you don't want to calculate, and listen up, kids, and this is why when you think you're saving a pile of money by building a pickup truck instead of a Camaro or a Barracuda, you're not.
They're big.
They're big. Pickup trucks use 30 to 50% more product, which means they use that much more primer, that much more paint, which means there's that much more surface area, which means they take that much more labor to sand those surface areas and make them nice. So it's a misnomer to think you're going to save a couple bucks by doing a pickup truck.
This here, I measured it with the mill gauge here,
I haven't taken the fuck all off probably.
0.1.
Yeah.
So this probably should have had 800. Do you want me to go back and
No, we did that once.
read it out? Or no, just leave it.
I think the only thing he wants to see what the difference is.
Yeah, we don't want the whole thing to look
Okay.
good. We want this to be different than that. And
So David's gonna take his,
David's gonna take his sweet time and make that perfect like it should be.
And we want to stick as much as we can, or since the body work
Where are
is
you
in
at
there,
for sanding?
2,000.
Yeah, I don't think you stick after 2,000. In fact, once you're done 2,000, you're back to the orbital. I wouldn't do 3,000 by hand.
So are you doing straight through?
because here, we're gonna do it here.
Okay, and then what are you going to do on top of this?
I don't know. Oh, same thing, I guess.
Yeah, because I thought this was just the machine, right?
Yeah.
2,000, 3,000.
You do about a 1 foot square at a time.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
Like now, that's where the time is. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
now basically we're duplicating that.
100%.
Got labor.
100%. So show me how to get around that. Even this.
It's
we
everywhere.
didn't get these scratches out from your.
It's everywhere.
from your- those look like they're even heavier than the 1500 for sure. Is this a smaller?
No, that's
So how do you normally do it? That's kind of what I'm asking, so that you get a good result and not those problems.
You got your DA in a fresh piece of paper?
Yeah, that was a brand new piece of paper that I did.
You got a dry piece?
Yeah, they're all stacked right there, Steve.
So what did you got 2,000?
Yep. So what I don't know is that a ball of product that gets underneath, like a ball of clear that gets kind of wound up in there? And this is our typical result.
probably is.
So you do DA the top hood.
I'll DA, but when I DA, I would just take it on, I would take it dry and I would just take a squirt bottle. I wouldn't let it. Just down.
So how does that make it better?
I don't know, that's just how I do it and I don't seem to get this because this is like,
So we've almost failed at what we're doing here because you've asked us to do it the way we do it, which is wrong. So we want to
well, I don't want to say it's wrong. Like,
We
I
want-
don't know why you get those because that's supposed to be engineered paper.
I want you to do it so
Yeah.
that you prove us wrong. Go right through the paper again then. I don't think it's worth doing it with that. I don't think it's coming out with that.
It may not come out
My
with two,
experience is
but
you're right back, you're right back to 1,500 there again.
You got 1,500?
Did we do 1,500 for that?
600 wet to get it off.
So what I've been doing was using 2,000 dry without any water.
Yeah.
You can see the results really good, but I go through a lot of paper.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how much paper I go through. So not really saving much money.
11.4. And what was
11.4, you were about
What was that before?
11.6. So like, if you can watch that, like you can't burn through unless you keep getting the pigtails and have to go over it and over it and over it again.
So
But
really, I
let's
didn't
make
take it
nice.
down that much though.
No, let's
So
make
how
it
much
nice.
did yours come down?
It came down about 0.2.
Yeah, so it was about the same.
Now polishing, I don't know. Maybe that's going to take more than the sanding.
That's why I wanted to. I wanted to check it before you got into too much
We can show you guys the difference. Wow. So one thing we realized is the production clears are a little softer than they used to be. So a couple things you can do to get around that. I would say wait a minimum of 90 days, maybe 120 days before you start this process. And I actually recommend doing exactly what we did on the car that you're doing. So you have a couple different versions of it and you can decide for yourself. One space you'd want to do this is on a roof because anything to this level looks wonderful on the roof. So you're not going to waste your time at all. You can try working a little harder, or you can try to do a little bit more work with the orbital so you're not doing it by hand. All in all, I think at JF Customs, we're going to continue to work real hard, make them super flat. Once in a while, when a client wants us to push something through, we'll do it with an orbital. Hope you liked it. Hope you learned something. I know we're learning every day. Cheers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Sorry to head you guys outside. We realized that we can show you a little bit better in here. So a little bit flatter finish. Still what I would consider to be a show car finish. And this is the in-between finish. But like we said, we worked probably a little bit too hard on that one. For some mistakes I don't know that we were making, but for some reason, the paper we were using on the orbital sort of catches something and then it'll swirl it around, and before you know it, you've had to go right back 2 steps rather than moving forward. That costs you some time.